Australians who face natural disasters will receive support from a new national body. More than $500 million has been allocated to the National Recovery and Resilience Agency, which will help communities rebuild and prepare for future disasters. The new overarching body was recommended by the Royal Commission into Australia's natural disaster arrangements.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Michael McCormack, joins us now from Gladstone in central Queensland. Michael McCormack, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
I want to talk about the disaster relief money in just a moment, but I want to start with the main story this morning and ask you, has the government got it wrong in threatening these fines and the jail sentences for Indian Australians trying to return to Australia, given that everybody from Michael Slater, the former cricketer, to the head of the AMA is now strongly against it?
Well, look, I know Michael Slater. I grew up with him and appreciate his concerns, and also appreciate the fact that those fines and those jail terms are in the Biosecurity Act. They're actually written into law. But look, the Prime Minister made it quite clear yesterday that nobody's going to be jailed. Obviously, there needs to be a hard line taken as far as the overall Act being in place, but nobody's going to be jailed, Michael, at this time. The Prime Minister's made that quite clear. We've taken this pause. We've made it in the national interest. We've done it based on the best possible medical advice. It's until May 15. We're reviewing it constantly, as you'd expect us to do. These are challenging times, and there's 400,000 cases, new cases each and every day in India. We made that decision based on medical advice, such that we didn't want planefuls of people, plane loads of people coming back and swamping our quarantine system. It's worked well, mostly thus far, and we need to make sure that we continue to keep Australia as COVID-free and as COVID-safe as possibly can be, based on the best possible medical advice.
Okay, that's a pretty direct statement. Nobody's going to be jailed. So that's a clear direction now from the government to Border Force officials and other parts of the system. Well,
the Prime Minister has said that, and look, it's
can the government do that though? Where does the separation of powers come in?
Well, we want people to understand that we appreciate their plight. We get the fact that there are 9,000, probably more, Australians in India at this point in time. That's why the Prime Minister made it quite clear on March 13 last year to Australians who are overseas to come home as quickly and as best they could. That's why we've put on government facilitated flights. That's why we've put on humanitarian and repatriation flights. Of course, Qantas helped us get many people out of Wuhan at a time when Wuhan was the epicentre of this global pandemic. Now, there's no manual that you can pull down off a shelf, Michael, to say this is what you need to do today, tomorrow or next month. And this pandemic continues, but we've continued to take the best possible medical advice to address the issues that it throws up.
If you're not going to jail people, why announce it? Why threaten it in the first place?
Well, it's in the Act. It's actually
it was in the Health Minister's press release. It was actually, no, excuse me, it's in the Act, but it was also specifically mentioned in your colleague Greg Hunt's media release late on Friday night. I ask again, why mention it? Why be so specific about it if, as you say now, no one is going to be jailed?
Well, because there were Australians who were using other avenues and third ports to come home, and we don't want Australians to breach those strict rules. We don't want Australians to do things because based on perhaps their level of ability to charter planes and the like, and to overwhelm our quarantine system. We want Australians to do the right thing. You've got to remember that this is a pause. It's up until May 15. We've said that we're going to review it constantly, and that's what we're doing. We're also basing our advice on epidemiologists who support what we're doing, best possible medical advice. Chief Medical Officer Paul Kelly, we sit and talk about these things all the time. We constantly review them, and that's what you would expect the government of the country to do. And as I go out and talk to people, they understand how challenging and difficult this is, but they also tell me that we made the right decision. Tough decision, yes, but the right decision, certainly, to keep Australia as COVID safe as we can possibly do.
Okay, now let's talk about this new money, $600 million odd for disaster relief and recovery. How will it work in practice? What sort of measures will it fund?
Well, we want to make sure that Australia can cope with, of course, the cyclones, the fires, the floods that our nation has always thrown up. And Shane Stone, who's done a remarkable job in drought and other measures. Of course, he's a former Chief Minister in the Northern Territory, so he understands full well the difficulties thrown up by climate and weather extremes. So we're going to make sure that this agency addresses that. We're going to make sure that, as we've done through drought, that we've got a fund, that we've got an agency that can deal with and grapple with these issues as they arise. I know that Shane Stone, who's seen probably more of Australia than most over the past 12 months dealing with drought and other issues, will certainly make sure that this agency operates as effectively for those particularly regional communities where often these events occur, and we want to make sure we can't stop, of course, cyclones, and we can't prevent fires and floods, but we can have an agency specifically dealing with the issues that arise from it. And as we've seen in the recent floods, very quick to respond. The states were magnificent too, and our first responders are always the best.
I can hear every scientist watching this program screaming at the TV now, and they would say, yes, you can make bushfires and floods less frequent by being more serious about tackling climate change. So why not try to prevent all this happening in the first place by not following each and every other state and territory, the business community and a lot of other countries around the world, and sign up, for instance, to achieving net zero emissions by 2050? Just why not do that to make bushfires and floods less frequent?
Well, we're doing it
here
through technology, not taxes. Sure. Well, I'm here at Gladstone, where so much of Australia's resource product leaves this beautiful deep port, this wonderful harbour. And we want to make sure that this port not only continues to operate, but indeed grows. We want to make sure that the tens of thousands of jobs of those people in the resources sector continues to happen. And that's why we back our resources sector. That's why we back agriculture. That's why we put technology in place, not taxation, to ensure that we continue to not only meet but beat our international obligations when it comes to lowering emissions.
OK, we're out of time. Michael McCormack, appreciate you taking the time to have a chat to us this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. All the very best. Have a great day.